Hey everybody, and welcome to the Bullpen. I'm Morley Scott, along with Dave Campbell, Brendan Ulrich, and Reed Wilkins from the 630 CHED Sports Department. We're going to talk a little bit about Super Bowl 48, which happens this weekend. First topic, guys, is the weather. Everybody's been complaining about the weather, how cold it's going to be. The forecast right now, 38 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 3 degrees Celsius. In the NFL, that's cold. In the CFL, it's a great day for football. Will it have an effect, you think?
It's a non-issue, I think. It really is a non-issue. It will have an effect a bit, maybe on the passing game. We don't know what the winds are going to do and that sort of thing. But 0 degrees with no snow, I think that's ideal conditions, boys.
And both teams have good running backs, so they'll probably just try to run the ball. And I think they've got 2 weeks to prepare. I don't think it should be an issue at all.
No, I don't think the weather will be an impact. I mean, unless there is a wind, like Dave says. But really, I mean, a lot of those guys have played in those temperatures before, so I don't think it'll slow down the offenses at all.
It is a great matchup. It's, what's the old saying in sports? Defense wins championships, offense sells tickets.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be sold out, and we'll find out if the defensive part comes through or not. But NFL's number one defense and the number one offense going head to head. Peyton Manning and his great football brain with his weapons against a defense that has won games for Seattle all year. Where's the advantage? Is there an advantage?
It's a tough matchup, and we've seen what Peyton Manning and the Denver offense. And I'm going to include the running game too, and I'm glad you brought it up, Brendan, because a lot of people are talking about beast mode with Marshawn Lynch, and that's definitely a factor for the Seattle Seahawks. But no Sean Marino can get it done, and I think he can be a real X factor. When I look at this matchup, I have to take Seattle's offense out of the equation because Russell Wilson's really struggling in the passing game. Percy Harvin's likely going to play, but he hasn't played hardly at all this year. So I look at it as, can Peyton Manning sustain drives going down the field? I don't think the big playability is going to be there very much. I think Seattle's secondary is that good. So I see Peyton Manning trying to take short chunks all the way down the field, scoring those big, long 12, 14, 16 play drives.
Not many guys are better at that than him, though, too.
Oh, that's his forte. He spreads the ball around, and he identifies the team's weakness, and he kind of focuses on that. But if they take out Thomas, there's still Welker, there's still you got Decker, and the tight end Julius Thomas. Can't forget about him. I know you mentioned Marino. I want to talk about Monte Ball because he's a rookie who's had a strong effect over the last couple of games. He's kind of become their goal line back, and he can drive it right down the middle when they need to get that touchdown.
Yep.
I think there will be some long drives in this game because I think Denver's going to try to chip away. I mean, Manning has been releasing the ball quickly, and he's going to have to continue to do that because he's not a scrambler like Kaepernick. So if the Seattle pass rush gets through, he's doomed. And I think Seattle has to shorten the game. They have to use the clock, limit the number of possessions Denver has, so they'll try to grind it out with Marshawn Lynch. And I would expect Wilson to use his legs a little more too.
Talking to people the last couple of weeks since the matchup's been set, you ask who you cheering for. They'll say Seattle or they'll say Peyton. Right? It seems like nobody's cheering for Denver, they're cheering for Peyton. Peyton Manning, there's a lot riding on this. I think people they're putting a lot on it, legacy-wise, right? Because he had the greatest season any quarterback can ever have this year, basically. He's had great regular seasons over his career, but he's 1-1 in Super Bowls, has a tendency not to get the team there. How important is this for Peyton Manning's legacy?
Well, I would say, you look at his brother Eli, who is not as good of a quarterback as Peyton Manning, but has been a better playoff quarterback. He's got 2 rings, where Peyton has struggled in the playoffs and only has 1 ring. So I would say for Peyton's legacy, I think not from Peyton Manning's lens, but from the lens of the media, from the lens of the fans, he's got to win this game. Because then people are going to say, they can dump on him and say, hey, you can't get it done. Your brother got it done. And he's less of a quarterback than you are, but you can't get it done. I think it's very important for Peyton.
You mentioned his brother. You got to also mention Tom Brady, who's probably been his biggest rival of the last decade. And he got through Tom Brady to get to where he is now. So I think if he wins the Super Bowl going through Tom Brady like he did in his first Super Bowl, I'll definitely be able to cement him as probably the best that I've seen growing up anyway in terms of my time watching the NFL.
Short term, it'll affect his legacy because everything is so picked apart now in the internet age. He's kind of been labeled the guy who can come up short. Long term, if he loses this game, I don't think it's going to affect his legacy. You look at Dan Marino, is now often talked about as one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play. Only made 1 Super Bowl and he lost it. So I think when we're 5, 10, 15 years after Manning retires, he will be remembered as perhaps the best quarterback to ever play, regardless of what happens on Sunday.
Win or lose, he's going to the Hall of Fame and he's going to go down as one of the best quarterbacks ever. All right, nothing left to do now but give our predictions. Let's go over here, start with Reed.